Yo, welcome to Crazy Hope.
Hello, crazy people.
My name's Mark, and this is.
And I'm Nita.
And are you going to speak?
And this is.
This is Mia. She has had a haircut.
She's been to the hairdressers, which was responsibly done.
Yes.
Through very responsible measures.
Yep,
and she's
2 meter clippers, didn't they?
They had 2 meter clippers. It was like Edward Scissorhands. I'm surprised she's missing a leg, but she's all right. She's got a few bold bits where she missed, but never mind. She looks very pretty, doesn't she?
So we're very pleased about that. And you look beautiful as always, Nina.
Well, yeah, but I am missing the hairdressers, the roots and everything. So it is a bit of a... I mean, it's a small price to pay, but it is little... Yeah, you grew your hair last week, didn't you? And
I did. I haven't shaved it for 3 days
like
now.
A badger. You
so
shaved?
no, it's going to be like a Mohican soon if I let it grow.
Well,
or a monk's.
A
monk's.
Yeah, because you don't get
an inverted Mohican.
You get it either side. It's very.
You ready for a good show?
I am.
Good.
I am ready.
We've got some water.
I've got my hot water there.
You love hot water. It's your favourite drink, isn't it?
At the moment, it's my favourite drink, actually. I've been having it for so long that I actually tried to have a herbal tea the other day. And this isn't like a showy-off thing, because like I hated hot water before we started this lockdown. I thought if it kills me, I am going to try and
It's not going to kill you.
It felt like it was going to kill me. I'm going to kill you in a minute. And now I've been having it since the beginning of Pancake Day or whatever. Lent, is that called Lent?
Yeah, Shrove Tuesday.
Shrove Tuesday. And now, if I drink any of the hot drink, I actually feel really thirsty. Mm-hmm. This is actually, even on a hot day, you wouldn't believe it because all the curtains are closed. It's like the blinking black hole of Calcutta in here. But it's a really sunny day, and even in this hot sun, a lovely cup of hot water.
Fantastic.
Really,
and I thought I just made her one, but all I'd done is just put an empty cup on the surface and without any water, and I hadn't put the kettle on, so I failed on that one, didn't I? And we got some Bombay mix on the table.
Yeah, would you like a little bit?
It might be a bit crunchy on the microphones, though.
Careful, fingers off.
Anyway,
nicely.
We're going to introduce some brilliant guests to you in just a moment. Before we do that, we would love you to send us in some thoughts on the following question, and that is, how have you made the most of the slightly eased lockdown restrictions? And if you have made the most of those slight edging forward, what have you done? So we enjoyed a little venture to the beach, didn't we? A few days ago.
Which is the first time we went to the beach since Mother's Day, because that was like just before the lockdown in Exmouth, and we were very, very, very careful how we did it. That there's lots of rumours about people going to the beach and being really stupid. We didn't see any of that, if I'm honest. There didn't seem to be loads of people on the beach, and we have been reasonably less hit in the southwest with this COVID. I'm sure nurses and the healthcare workers are still overwhelmed. They're doing an unbelievable job, but in comparison with the rest of Britain, we've been okay. So we thought, oh gosh, the beaches, people will be going stupid, but no, it was really lovely. The sea looked lovely, and so
it is weird seeing people though and having to keep distance, isn't it? That is really strange.
I think I'm getting used to it now, where I might not ever want to touch nobody again. High five.
I know, that's the
joking.
That's the sad thing, isn't it? We don't really want to get used to it, but it's the responsible thing to do. And well done to everybody for doing that. So have you made the most of slightly eased lockdown restrictions? And if so, how have you done that? Do let us know. Let us know on the chat if you're on Facebook or if you're on the online platform at live.rediscoverchurch.com. Let us know there. And we would love to read back some of those comments to you in just a moment.
And so can I just say, somebody sent me this lovely picture, this lovely, lovely little girl. Well, her daddy, Dave Oxenham, has just sent a picture. And she's, I thought you'd had a dog, Dave, but you haven't. You've had a little stuffed dog. There you go.
I'm playing with a cable on the back of my head here. I tried to tape the headphones to the back of my neck, and I tried this the other week, and I ended up, the tape got stuck to the chair, and I tried to pull forward, and I was actually taped to the chair, so it keeps coming off. No stunts today. So coming up in today's show, we have got a treat for you. We've got Allan Finnegan, who is a finalist on Britain's Got Talent. You may have seen him about 3 weeks ago. He's a vicar, and he is also through to the finals. He had a standing ovation from all 4 judges, and we are going to be hearing some of the background story of him going on Britain's Got Talent and find a little bit about his life and journey as well. And then we've got a wonderful Rachel Gardner with us.
Rachel Gardner,
who is one of the top communicators in the country, and she's just a phenomenal voice and got a real passion and a heart to make a difference in the world.
And for the underdog, she really has got a passion for the underdog and the vulnerable. And they've just planted a church, haven't they? Just before lockdown, they went and planted a church up in Preston. And then literally lockdown happened, and she's just such an amazing lady.
She's a real inspiration. I mean, you're going to love just hearing some of the things that she's up to and some of the thoughts she has, particularly around the issues of image, which are going to be one of our themes we're looking at today. But as I mentioned, Allan Finnegan stood up on the Britain Got Talent stage just a few weeks ago on our TVs, wearing his dog collar. He wasn't hiding his faith, and he received a rapturous applause from thousands of people. David Walliams said he was super funny and memorable. Alicia Dixon called him a breath of fresh air. Amanda Holden said he made her want to go to church. What a statement that is.
And hold her to that. See if she will go to church after this. Would be amazing.
Simon Cowell, if you're watching, Amanda, welcome today.
Yeah.
And the audience said, Simon said, the audience love you, and you got 4 yeses. So let's just watch a little bit of his audition from that scene at Britain's Got Talent. This is courtesy of BGT, and then we're going to speak to the man himself. So let's watch this video quickly.
Hello everybody, you alright? I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a Baptist minister, actually. Most people don't know what that is, I have to explain. It's a bit like being a vicar or a priest, but I don't wear frocks. As long as we don't count Tuesdays, because that's my day off, I can do what I want. And me and my wife are the same cup size, so that comes in handy. I'm married. I've been married for 30 years, over 30 years now. Thank you. We all know what it means. It just means my love life has become a bit like my bank card, contactless. There are other similarities I don't like to talk about. The fact that I don't have to worry about pressing any buttons. Transactions are quicker than they used to be. And I'm constantly getting declined. So...
Very good.
It wasn't that way in the beginning. Oh no, it was all welcome gifts, high interest and instant access. Now it's flat rate, no interest, and I need 3 to 5 days clearance to be fair. And I had to train to be a minister of a church. You can't just turn up, I had to train. I'm still on probation, to be honest. But that's kind of cool where I live, so that's all right. Sometimes I take my watch off, put it around my ankle, cover it with my sock, just to get in character. With all that training, you think I'd be good at my job, wouldn't you? I'm not. I'm really not. You know, because they don't teach you what you need to do. You know what they taught me? Hebrew and Greek.
Greek.
I'm from Bootle, right? Seriously, the only Greek I know is Stavros, does me kebabs, right? And Hebrew's when a guy puts the kettle on. Good night, and God bless.
Brilliant.
Wow,
So,
a standing ovation.
absolutely. Would you give a big welcome to Allan Finnegan, who's about to join us live? Hey, Allan, good to see you.
Allan, you all right?
I can't hear you.
Don't you start that again.
Really? You can't hear us?
Can you see
I
us?
can't hear you.
No.
Seriously?
Oh, how are we going to conduct an interview if you can't hear us? Okay, we're going to just, maybe Jason, you can just try and work that out in just a moment.
I can't hear you.
Okay.
Oh, no, are you joking? He's joking.
Don't know what's happened here.
He's not joking.
Is he not joking?
Okay, Jason, if you can just take Allan out and just try and get that fixed, and we'll come back to Allan in just a moment.
Well, it was amazing anyway that he got a standing ovation.
Really?
And he was really, really funny. You couldn't relate to any of those sentiments he was joking about, could you, Mark?
I'm not quite sure which ones you're talking
will
about.
thrash you.
I've never worn my watch around my ankles. So.
Good. That's good.
No.
That's the right answer. So I'm just hoping you can't relate to anything he said.
That was a bit edgy for sort of an afternoon show, wasn't it?
It was. It was a bit edgy, actually. I was praying in tongues under my breath.
But it's just great to see people
dear.
just taking to the stage
Thank you,
and just
Chihuahua.
and to hear that comment from Amanda that
Yeah.
I'd be interested in going to church if it was like that. So
Yeah,
fascinating.
yeah, they're fascinating times. Well, we were having a lot of technical hitches, weren't we, before?
We've had a few. So thanks to the wonders of technology, we're actually achieving quite a lot of things with some very basic equipment. And sometimes they go wrong with internet problems and all that sort of stuff. But we'll try and get Alan back in just a moment. But we've got another guest. Oh, yeah.
Oh, hold on.
Can you hear us, Alan?
I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Come
crying
on.
out. Do you know what? I thought you were joking. I thought you were doing that Peter Kay skit.
No,
You wouldn't believe the names I was calling you. Okay,
Good job I couldn't hear you, wasn't it? Hey.
That was a good job.
Alan, congratulations on such a great interview, such a great audition.
Yeah.
And to get such great comments must have made your night, eh?
Well, it was a bit weird. I'm not really used to getting nice comments, to be honest. So, so it was a bit strange, yeah. So it was very bizarre.
Was it the scariest thing that you've ever done?
It was up there with the scariest thing I've ever done. I would say so. I mean, playing the London Palladium, it's historic, isn't it? It was crazy. Things like that don't happen to me. So it was frightening and exciting and mad and everything all at the same time. So yeah.
So when, in light of obviously all this has happened since then, when was that actually recorded? When did that go out?
It was mid-January. It was recorded. So before all this lockdown stuff and that. Mid-January. About the 18th of January. Can't remember exactly.
Okay.
What's life been like for you since it went on TV a few weeks ago, Alan?
Well, it's a bit bizarre, but as you can't go out, so it's hard to get noticed, isn't it, when you're stuck in your own house? And when you go out, you've got a mask on, so it's pretty good.
Oh my gosh, you don't use.
I got noticed doing the garden the other day.
You don't use your wife's bra as a mask, do you? Because I've heard you share the same cup size. You haven't. I've seen some people using bras as masks. You haven't stooped to that level.
I haven't tried that
you?
yet, but each to their own.
It's not.
So tell us about the process of going on Britain's Got Talent. Have you thought about applying for some time? Because you've been doing comedy for a long time, haven't you? So it must have been in your mind.
I've been doing it for about 6-7 years now, and it's something that comes up every year type of thing, and you think, shall I get involved and that, and the opportunity arose, and I just thought, why not, basically? Well, why not? Why not do it? What's the worst that can happen? I can only get sacked, can't I? So, yeah, probably be doing me a favour, to be fair.
So how long have you? Because you're like training to be a Baptist minister.
No.
Methodist.
I'm actually Baptist. Yeah, I'm actually fully whatever it is now.
You're fully reverended.
You're fully reverended. Yeah, something like that.
Full
Yeah.
Rev.
yeah, full on Rev. Yeah.
So did you become a Christian first, or did you become funny first? Or have you always been funny?
I think.
Did you?
I think I probably became a Christian first. I don't know, because I became a Christian about 16. So I don't know whether you're funny then or just annoying.
A bit of both.
Probably a bit of both. So I became a Christian at 16. I'm still in the same church that I came to faith in. So I'm the minister now. I've been there 6 years, something like that. Maybe longer. So you came into that
church as a 16-year-old, like just one of the youth in the youth group. I'm just thinking.
No, I met a girl, didn't I? That's and she went to church, so it seemed like a good idea.
I'm just thinking that's amazing because you just said you're in the same church. I'm thinking of some of our young people that are in church now, and the thought of them actually in a few years' time leading the church, or even now, that would be amazing. That's absolutely brilliant. Wow.
Yeah, I've only been in one church, basically. Yeah. So
wow.
No one else has had me, to be honest.
You were quite self-deprecating about your your ministry in your, and I'm sure you're overplaying that for the sake of the comedy. But what's been your journey?
Not.
No.
I just haven't been rumbled. That's what it is. Everyone thinks I'm messing. Everyone thinks it's the act.
Are you not
honestly.
messing?
No, I'm not. I'm absolutely rubbish at it.
Oh no, you gotta be. You are. You bet people love you, and I bet they relate to you because you seem to be very real, rather than one of these holier than thou sort of floating on air, unrelatable characters.
I'm definitely not holier than that. I'm not even the best Christian in our church.
We could have a competition. Which one is the worst? Right here.
What's been the reaction of your church to you going on BGT?
You kind of can't tell anyone until it's on the show, if you get what I mean. They don't want to spoil the reveal of it and all that. So they didn't know until lockdown. So
wow.
You kept that secret.
Well, you keep it secret. Yes, I talk to me leaders, you know what I mean, obviously, because they've got to be on board, haven't they? Well, my wife knew. Yeah, she knew. She knew. She wasn't there. But, she was away on a girly weekend at the time. But
Oh, wow.
But so a lot of them didn't know I was on the show.
Wow.
So it was a bit of a surprise to them.
I'm sure it was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And do you find that a lot of your humour when you are speaking in the pulpit, do you integrate a lot of humour into your stories, or no, are you more serious? Or
No. I mean, I think you'll probably agree with me yourselves. It's preaching. Comedy's the same, right? But preaching and communicate, you've got to be yourself, haven't you? You've got to be you. So authenticity is the name of the game. So it's no good pretending to be someone else. It's no good trying to be all serious and holy when you're not. So I'm me, and that's slightly funny, slightly awkward, socially awkward. I'm loving this social distancing. It's amazing. I don't need to get near anyone. So I'm just, you find yourself and get comfortable with yourself. That's, I mean, I guess Rachel will know more about that than me. But so it's about, so don't try and be funny if you're not, if you get me. And I never tried to be funny until obviously I became a comedian, and then it's part of the role. You
gotta be.
You've got to be, otherwise it's a long 20 minutes that when no one laughs. And then you've got to drive home from Hull. That's a journey, I tell you.
Did it actually seem a long time when you actually did the audition before you heard the first laugh? Did it seem like forever? Because they started laughing quite quickly, I thought. But did it seem like a long time?
No, it was all right, because you know it's your first punchline, so you're not expecting them to laugh before that, or you've done something wrong, basically. But once the first laugh comes, then you relax. I relaxed a lot more after that first laugh, I think. So,
does ministry become quite a rich vein of comedy, or is it difficult to fuse those worlds together?
Again, I guess you'll know yourselves. You just can't make some stuff up, can you? Most of what I say in my set, I talk about being a Baptist minister in my set. That's mostly what it's about. And I would say 95% of it is true. It's just stitched together at times and a little bit exaggerated, a little bit evangelistic, shall we say. Just for the comedy purposes, but 95% of it's true. That's why I remember it so much, because it's actually happened, you know. So ministry is it can be a bit mad, especially when you're on a council estate in the the outskirts of Liverpool. It gets a little bit exciting. It's fun.
Does it make it more complex though now with a bit more of a public profile? Because I remember when I used to, before technology and podcasts and all that stuff, if I was preaching somewhere else, I'd be able to tell stories about things that happened in my home church. But now recordings go everywhere. You can't use that stuff without somebody thinking, he's talking about me there. Yeah. Is that a bit of a hazard for you now you're on TV? You're going to be talking about your congregation?
I'm guessing it will be.
Okay, well, it's Alan's congregation. Just be warned. Be warned, you might be famous soon.
Everyone has a conversation with me now, and they say, "Don't put this in your set," and I just make mental notes all the time. Yeah. So.
What is the funniest thing that's happened to you, Alan, in your ministry? Are you allowed to share that?
To be honest, there's loads of stuff. As I said, my act is about it, and so if you see me act, a lot of that comes out. I guess the funniest thing I ever seen was when we were in a worship time, and the way they start the band, and they said, like, everyone stands up, and as we stood up, some fella was stood there, and his kecks fell down, his pants, that is, for anyone who isn't from Liverpool. His kecks fell down, right? Like, literally fell down to his ankles. He didn't rush to pull them back up. He didn't, grab them and that. He just looked down, then slowly lifted them back up. Well, I couldn't breathe. I was you thought Toronto had happened all over again. Honestly, I couldn't breathe. I was on the floor. People were saying, more Lord, more Lord. I was gone. I tell you, I was proper gone.
Oh my
proper
gosh.
Gone.
And
the next day, because it was a bit of a conference, so the next day he come back, seeing him again, but he had a big pair of braces on. That's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
That is fantastic. I'd like to visit your church. It sounds good fun.
That church is special. That church is special. Needs. No, it is. It's a great place. It's never a dull moment. Yeah. Sorry.
We've really appreciated you joining us today. Just before you go, one quick question: can you win Britain's Got Talent?
No.
That's the wrong answer. You're not supposed to say that.
Well, it's a popularity contest, and there's nurses in it, so I've got no chance, have I? Let's be honest. Not even God can come against the NHS right now, can he?
Sorry.
Well, you might have picked up a few extra votes today as well. My mum might vote for you now.
You might have.
Probably have, to be fair.
It's all them pesky dogs in it as well. Them dogs. Everybody always votes for the blinking dogs.
The dogs win it. Well, you've got to remember, it's not a talent show. It's a popularity contest.
Yeah. It's about the story, isn't it? These days, it is about. Yeah, it's almost in some way. Yeah. I love the authenticity and I love the story. But when you're seeing some of the people, there's some people that haven't got a buzz. And I've thought, crying out loud, their talent is 1,000,000 times better than the person that just got through, but they've got a really good sub story. They didn't sort of, and I don't know, it's that tension, isn't it, that you feel, and you think, oh, for goodness sake.
I haven't really got a sob story. I've still got both my legs and stuff, Got diabetes, so there's a good chance I might lose one eventually, but.
Well, John Archer did very well last year, didn't he? And
he did.
He was a great talisman for comedy and faith.
He was in it, John. Actually. Yeah. He does a good show. We had him because he's in the magic circle. Can you do magic tricks? Can you?
No, I can disappear.
Very good.
Alan, thank you so much for being with us today. We wish you all the best on
Thanks
the future part of this journey. And we massively appreciate all you're doing. And we'll be voting for you and
we will be
thinking of you and praying for you in the months ahead. But bless you, my friend.
Thanks very much.
Great
Thanks for being with us today.
Bye.
Bless you. Bye. Bye.
Wow.
Funny man.
What a funny man.
Authentic and real.
Yeah. And that's what I liked above even the humour. He was really funny. Don't you eat that Bombay mix. But just to be himself, and I think generally there can become a lot of humility when somebody is themselves and they're aware of their weaknesses, they're aware that they get things wrong, and they speak openly about that. It's a vulnerability as well. I like that. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Cool stuff. Well, we so appreciate Alan joining us.
Yeah.
We asked a question of have you made the most of the slightly eased lockdown restrictions, and if so, how? So some of the things that are coming through, we've got a range of things here. People are visiting places, enjoying getting out in the weather.
I thought Graham Bastone, I just quickly looked at your comment and I thought you said you've been eating prunes, which I thought would certainly change the system of your day, the way it goes. But it's pruning back your finances. Or I thought it actually said you'd been eating, but I just saw the word prunes and thought, crying out loud, poor Mrs. B. No.
Yeah, well, continue to try and get some fresh air if you're able to get out and just enjoy some of this lovely weather, and just keep safe and just keep that social distancing from people, but do make the most.
It does make the world of difference if you just go out even for 5 or 10 minutes, or especially if you haven't got a garden. We've only got a tiny little garden down there. You obviously can't see it unless we threw you out the window, but it is still a little garden, and I just feel for those that haven't got gardens and things, and it's so important to just get out, go for a walk.
Although Andrew said that he was picked up by his brother and drove to his house for a coffee, not allowed in the house, but he sat on the table on the decking, and that was a great escape.
Yeah,
someone else walked to a friend's house, so get a bit of exercise and seeing someone as well. Yeah. That's great. But well done for enjoying all the weather. Somebody's been moving stuff that they weren't able to move from their old house to their new house. So thank you for all those submissions today. That's fantastic. Well, we are really looking forward to introducing our next guest to you. But before we do that, second question, what ways do you find that your image is under attack? Also, if you've got any questions about issues of identity or image, then our next guest has written numerous books about it, spoke on platforms all over the country, and she would be a great person to ask some of those questions too. So in what ways do you think your image or our image or society's image is under attack, people's image is under attack? And if you've got any questions for our next guest, Rachel Gardner, then we'd be delighted to ask her those in a moment. But shall we introduce Rachel?
Yeah, she's ever so lovely. I think you're going to like her ever such a lot. Yeah.
So her background is as a youth worker. She was involved in developing a program called the Romance Academy, which is a national project that was created to promote healthy relationships with young people. And that even kick-started a series on the BBC, actually, featuring the Romance Academy. She also continues to support the work of the Girls Brigade.
She's the president.
She's their president.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, should we curtsy?
So we had an OBE last week and a president this week.
President?
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to get next time. She's written several books to help people explore ideas around their confidence and identity. And last year, she moved with her husband and 2 kids to Preston, up in the north, after living in London for much of her life, to help lead a brand new church. And will you please welcome the brilliant, wonderful communicator,
Yay.
Mrs. Rachel Gardner. Are you there?
I think I am.
Can you hear
it? It's lovely. Yeah, I can hear you. I can see you. Oh, I can do it all. It's lovely. I feel like I'm with you. I think all of us listening probably feel like we're that person sat at the end of your little table. It's so lovely. You're brilliant, you guys.
Oh, thank you. I wish it was at the end of my table.
Yeah,
that would be really
nice.
lovely. Yeah.
That would be really.
Are the children all right? Are they having their dinner?
They're fine. They're currently next door, plugged into screens. Any working parents out there? Oh, thank goodness for Disney Channel. So yes, I am making the most of that.
It is a massive challenge for those of you with young kids, particularly, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I think at the moment we're beginning to find out what schools are going to do as well, aren't we? So it's another layer of kind of uncertainty, because I think when we had the first 6 weeks of lockdown, most of us said at some point we've done the 6-week school holiday, like whether we've got kids or not, we've all been through that. And the moment it kind of ventured into week 7, did you feel it? Like as a nation, we kind of went, oh, I don't think we can do this. We've not been this way before. So I think we are in new territory, aren't we? Week 8 or 9 or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
That we're in.
And then with the summer holidays, obviously, however that will look to come.
Well done to you as a mum, and well done to all those mums and dads out there.
Yeah,
fantastic.
thank you.
Well done.
Amazing.
Yeah. Every mummer, you're beautiful and you're amazing, and well done. And your dads, because a lot of dads are staying in, and a lot of dads are looking after kids and actually spending more time with the kids. I mean, you might feel like you're at your wits' end with doing it, but that is so good for the children.
And then, of course, all the parents who might be parenting with children in different houses, maybe their relationship is ended or divorced, so you've got parents that are kind of doing that juggle as well. And I think you're absolutely right. People are absolutely slaying it in their lane, aren't they? And it's tough.
And it's funny because no matter how hard you try, as a parent, you always feel like you've not done it enough. You've not done enough. Or I know earlier on, if you don't mind me saying, we were having a little chin wag.
We're doing it all with our chin.
a chin chat. And you were saying, and I felt that I did this to the whole of my mothering, is every day you're having to sit down and apologise.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry for this and I'm so sorry for that. I mean, I went to the stage where I was nearly sorry for breathing at one stage, and my kids constantly apologising. And I did think, though, one thing I am teaching my kids is actually how to say sorry, how to admit when they've done wrong, how to say sorry and receive forgiveness as well. I'm not quite sure. They don't say sorry that often, but I certainly feel like I've said sorry.
It's one of the hazards of raising perfect children.
Perfect. Oh, they're beautiful. My babies, they're beautiful.
But you can see why Jesus says, keep saying sorry and keep forgiving, because I think Nita, I'm the same at the moment. Every day we go through this cycle of, I'm sorry, I forgive you. They do it again, or I do it again. I'm sorry, I forgive you. And you realise that we're always trapped in these cycles, aren't we? And Jesus is so good at saying, this is how you get out of it. Like, just keep saying sorry, keep being forgiven. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, you're lovely.
Rachel, you've spoken on some of the biggest stages. You've written a number of great books.
And you're a president.
And a president as well. And we keep coming back to the theme often of identity and image. Why is this been such a key theme for you over the years?
Well, I guess our identity is it's who we are, isn't it? And it's how our image is how we see ourselves, our self-image, our self-esteem is how we feel about our image, and identity is that much deeper work of working out who we are. And also identity is not just about image, it's also about your purpose and your value and your worth. And I guess I've had the real privilege of speaking to groups of young people or emerging generations, and I think psychologically the overwhelming question that psychologically we're asking when we are a teenager or a young adult is, who am I? And that question has to be answered. And what happens is we either take with us into the rest of our lives a kind of a developing sense of, okay, I can develop my identity, I can work on it, I can work on my image, but actually essentially I'm enough, like I'm good. Or we take into our lives, actually at the very core, I'm not good enough. And so what we do is everything is like a little bit of a quick fix to try and fix actually what at the heart is quite a fractured identity. And
I think it's so good, Rachel, that you can communicate with any age and any culture, but obviously I identify with when I've heard you speak, and you've spoken at a lot of youth conferences that we used to run. But I think it's so important that you are speaking to the young people and that you are sending out that message of hope and freedom with great power. Because if they don't get it then, what happens is you get 40, 50, 60, 70-year-olds. And what is even sadder, I think, is a 70-year-old person, woman or old man, that are coming towards the end of their life. People live longer now and still don't realise how loved they are. They have lived all their life without knowing how valued they are, and that they have purpose, and that God has good plans for them. And if they'd have only got it not just when they were young people like you could, but like kiddies your age, your little kiddies, who are gonna have a great self-image because of what you're instilling into them. But if we don't get it then, boy, isn't it sad when you see people in their later life that are just lost in hopelessness and the lies of the enemy, so entrapped in the lies, and they just don't seem to be able to break through it.
Nita, you're so right. And the word that you use that's so powerful is lies. Because I think what happens very much in adolescence and our teenage years is that the lies, you're not good enough, you're not clever enough, you don't fit in, they feel quite like truth. And actually, it's a very brave, confident, well-supported young person that can say, wait a minute, is that true, or is that a lie? And if we don't have others in our life at that time speaking truth into us to help combat that lie, then those lies become the foundation that everything's built on. And I'm in my 40s now, and I still notice that there's some really shaky things about how I feel about myself it's because actually I need to let Jesus root out the lies, because over time those lies have felt like my friend. Like the lie that says, Rachel, you're never pretty enough, you're not good enough, and you don't really cope. Actually, that lie feels like a friend, because it means that I can then say, well, I'm not going to take a risk. I'm not going to try something different because I'm the person that can't cope. And so what the lies do is they stop us accepting the truth and stop us living out our wonderful identity, our fierceness, our courage, our beauty, our power. So I think you're absolutely right, Nita, that at the teenage years is a really key time to be knocking back those lies and helping people build their identity on truth. For every stage of our lives, we need to do that check-in with ourselves and with each other and with God. Like, am I building any of this on a lie? Because I don't want to give the lie any power. And Jesus, will you combat the lie with truth? And of course, truth is a person, and it's Jesus, isn't it? Amen. So when we say I want to speak the truth, I want Jesus to speak who I am. So it's a big challenge. Yeah.
Oh, there's power on that, Rachel.
Terrific.
There's some weight on what you just said.
Amen.
I mean, because like you're saying, if you don't get it, it becomes almost part of your identity and an excuse to almost you become paralyzed by fear, because the lies produce fear, and fear is almost a bit like when you've got that deer or a rabbit that in a dark night that's been in the middle of the road, run out in danger, stuck in the head, a car comes, the headlights are on. And you know you're going to die if you stay there. You're not going to do anything fruitful, but you can't move. It's like you're riveted to the spot. You're stuck, paralyzed in fear. Absolutely. And God says, I'm not sure if it's in Habakkuk, I think it's Habakkuk, that he's come to give us power in our places of suffering, responsibility and leadership to move, to shift and make spiritual progress on our high places, up to high places, which is he has called us, and that we can move no matter, because we've all got our weaknesses. We're all flawed.
Yes.
We had Patrick Regan last week, beauty in our brokenness. We're all flawed, but we are so loved as well. And oh God, Rachel, I just love chatting with you.
Bless you.
Rachel, this has been a constant theme that you've been carrying around, because the issues seem to get more complex in our society, and it feels in many ways that the media, the role that we see around us in the media and in retail and in so many sectors, seem to reinforce the lies rather than challenge them on so many occasions. I know you've started some campaigns off over the years over various things. But when you see those maybe TV shows or things around, I know we were talking about one the other week, how do you think that impacts upon people's identity?
Well, first off, I'm really for the fashion industry, and I love mass entertainment and internet technology. And I think these can be things that can help us explore our God-given identity and all that kind of stuff. What happens, though, the problem is that often these industries feed off our unhappiness, and our unhappiness comes from the fact that we're kind of constantly told to compare ourselves to the Insta perfect life, or whatever it is that we think the best #best life, living your best life should be. And comparison kills joy. And we're told in John 10:10 that the enemy of our soul comes to rob us and to steal and to destroy. So anything that smells like theft, there's an enemy behind it. So I think what I love to see and to cheer on is where the fashion industry and music and entertainment and stories don't rob us of our God-given identity as children of God, as loved, but actually help us explore that in different and really creative ways. We were chatting, Nita and I, before we came on, didn't we, about makeup, and when you're on Zoom as a woman, how do you engage with that? And I think actually I love the way that women are wearing makeup and not wearing makeup, are dressing up and dressing down, but it doesn't come from I've got to fit a mold. It comes from today I just feel a creative surge in me and I want to wear orange, or I want to do this. So the campaigns I've got involved with have never been saying right, fashion, stop being fashion, or let's close everything down. It's always been saying it's not good enough. Like, we are made to know our God-given identity. We are extraordinary creatures, and actually all of these other things have to serve God's mission and God's purpose in our life. And I think I do rage against the machine. I rage against online pornography. I rage against this stuff, because I think what it does, it just adds layer of complicated stuff. It just keeps people cowed and trapped. And I think I'm not so sure that my thinking keeps me trapped, but I think what I do is I begin to cultivate a type of thinking that keeps me trapped. Now, I have got a child that's now entered the room, and I am prepared with cakes and Vimto.
Look at that.
So look at this. Look at, there we go.
Oh, wow.
Okay, but there's a lesson in that, isn't there? Because actually we know that we live in a culture that is going to constantly want to keep us unhappy, because it wants us to spend our money. So we have to be fully equipped and armed and say, okay, I know what's going to come my way. So my little thing is, if I go in the days when shops were open, do you remember those days? Sometimes I'd walk into a shop and go, actually, I haven't got money to spend on an outfit. And I would buy an outfit for all the wrong reasons. So I just go in armed saying, I love fashion. I love being out and about. I'm going to enjoy looking at stuff. But I've got my get out clause. I'm going to get out and meet a friend and have a coffee. And I think just kind of arming ourselves, knowing what we need and who can support us is a really powerful thing, I think. He's taken the cake, we're fine. It works.
So good. Honestly,
good.
that is absolutely brilliant. I just love, do you know, as well, and just the messages that I mean, I like fashion as well. I mean, I sort of haven't brought anything I brought a couple of pieces, like dresses for this hot weather, and when your weight shifts and stuff, and you have to go to different things. But I was just thinking today, that whole message about identity, I spoke about identity on Sunday actually in church, and all around the scripture of knowing that we're beloved by God. And a lot of the inspiration came from the Song of Solomon, that we are beautiful, that he sees us. And when he looks at us, he almost says, I see you, you're beautiful, and there's no flaw in you. And I see you with no flaw. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we're just saying that we are imperfect and we make mistakes. But actually, through the lens of the blood of Jesus, he sees us flawless. And I was thinking, I'd love to have a sweatshirt or a t-shirt or something with just beloved across the I don't like me wearing anything across my chest though, because it draws attention to the chest. So maybe not. It would have to be across my belly button or something.
On your bag or something.
Or
but that is lovely.
But, do you know what I mean? Having a message with them. I mean, and I know there are a few Christian designers out there, because I'm thinking, let's get out there, be creative. Let's not just consume it. Let's be part of the industry that gets it out there, gets a message on what we wear.
That's so beautiful.
I mean, there's a few Topshop and a few different brands have stuff that aren't Christian, but you could overtly sort of coin the phrases, you know. But
you've challenged some things that you've seen in fashion in the past, haven't you? Can you give us an example of one of those things? I think
it's a sexualization of things. So I challenged the Send Me Nudes, Nudes, which a big fashion retailer was using to advertise their clothes that was really targeting pre-adolescents as well as teenagers. And we started a campaign, and actually amazingly, the signs were taken down within 72 hours because loads of people just jumped on saying, actually, I think interestingly, everybody had seen it, but I think we hadn't quite made the connection. Like, actually, do we really want young girls and boys growing up thinking that their bodies are to be looked at and to be consumed? No, of course not. So I think it's so important, I think, actually, and I think in this age of Zoom and StreamYard, where we're doing everything in 2D, I think we need to remember as well that one of the most powerful things about us is not what we look like, it's how people experience our presence. And I'm really missing the beauty of the presence of many of my friends, many who don't think that they're that attractive. I think they're beautifully attractive, but what's so beautiful about them is how they are. I miss being in the same place as them. And I think a culture that says you are 2D, you are an object, you are an image, robs us of understanding that we are 3D. And amazingly, like we're Ascension Day today, amazingly, you know, when Jesus left, he filled his people with the Holy Spirit, and people can now look to us and expect to experience the presence of God. Like, our bodies are good. Like, this is the place where God dwells. So we can absolutely decorate our environment. We can absolutely do brilliant stuff and have fun and stay healthy and change our hair color and do whatever we want. But let's never forget that the sheer preciousness of us is deep, and nothing will rob you of that. Like you are loved as much as you can ever be loved by God. Like, and that,
so
and
good.
sometimes we just need to sit in the shower of that and let that sink into us, don't we? Just let that sink through.
Oh,
That's
Rachel,
so beautiful.
That's lovely.
Rachel, someone has just written in and said that they're conscious that they feel they're overweight, probably insecure about being bigger than they've ever been. And, I'm sure you meet people all the time who have that sort of self-consciousness about their body image. What would you suggest as the right thing to say to someone in that situation? How can we help them?
And I think thank you so much for sharing that and for acknowledging it. Self-consciousness is something that actually all of us feel, because we've all got bodies that don't always do things we want to. We fart in public, we sweat, we feel bigger or smaller or more lined. So actually that feeling of self-consciousness is because you're a human being and you have a body. Our feelings can be so helpful, but they can also lie. So when I feel something like I feel too big, I feel my skin is changing, my thing is I feel like I'm always too much. I feel that I'm with people and when I leave the room, they go, phew, I'm glad she's left. She's just too much. So I talk to my feelings and I say, okay, feelings, I think you're lying to me right now. Like you've drawn attention to something, but I think that feeling is connected with a lie. So I think if we have something about our health, that actually we need to drink less alcohol, we need to drink more water, maybe we need to lose weight, maybe we need to put on weight, because there's evidence, there's like a fact about that. That is very different. We can kind of say, okay, I accept that information, but Jesus, will you cut off the lie that then drags that deep into my psyche and says, therefore I am not good enough, therefore I am ugly and unloved and unlovable, because that is a lie. So the truth might be I need to drink more water and go to bed earlier, but the lie is, oh, actually I'm not worth drinking more water, I'm just a mess, why would I care for myself? That's the lie. So I think get a couple of good friends who you know and trust to help just do a little bit of that talking with you and that thinking, because actually when we try and change things out of a place of shame, what we do is we self-soothe. And the thing that we most need to self-soothe is if for us it's eating, in the end we'll end up eating more, because that's the thing that soothes us. So not only do we want to acknowledge the lie, but also say, Jesus, will you help me come to you and not go to some of the things that normally I do to soothe myself. It's a massive one around sex and porn, masturbation, all those things, the things we think I must stop doing, that tend to be the thing we end up doing because actually it meets an immediate soothing, but Jesus can do the deeper. So I think, so thank you so much, you precious beloved person. Allow Jesus to identify the lie, to cut it off, and then feel confident in thinking, what one thing do I want to do towards that health that I think, actually, I want to be healthier.
Oh, that's so good, Rachel.
Rachel, we'd love to talk to you more all day.
So I chat too much.
You've got more kids getting for your attention. But if I just ask you one more thing before I maybe ask you to pray for our viewers. Today, as you mentioned, is Ascension Day, and that's marked the start of an international initiative called Thy Kingdom Come, which is really Christians praying that God's kingdom would come in their community, in their families, in their homes, in their neighborhoods, and in our nation, and the nations of the world. We, of course, we're praying that out of the Lord's Prayer, but we also can partner with that prayer, can't we, in order to be part of the solution, to be people who enact the kingdom of God. How can we do that? Are there some ways that we can do this around image and helping people to know the truth, not the lies in their life?
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. And I think for me, it does start with prayer, because I realize that all the things that I want to see changed in society, like the selfishness, the greed, the injustice, are things that start in the heart. And I want God to change that in my heart too. So that prayer starts here, because we want to then be agents of changing that. I think we want to be people that say, Jesus, will you help me identify the stuff that is robbing people in my family, my community, my school, online, from knowing freedom and knowing peace. So I want to be someone that calls out injustice when I see it, that calls out loneliness when I see it, and speaks up for the things that the kingdom of God represent: peace, joy, hope, love, all these sorts of things. So start in prayer, and then maybe ask God, where in my immediate vicinity right now Where is there dis-ease? Where are there signs that people need the breaking in of your kingdom? Where is there suffering and pain? And where's, and when we came to Preston, that's exactly what we prayed. We prayer walked around our city regularly, and we kept saying, oh, this particular street, all the businesses can keep, stop it, closing down. What's going on here? Oh, this particular area, there seems to be a lot of, drugs paraphernalia on the floor. What's going on there? So we began to say, God, where in this area are different signs that your kingdom is going to break through? And let's pray that in.
Wow, fantastic advice there, Rachel.
Amen.
Rachel, you're an inspiration. Thank you so much for continuing to be that inspiration to so many of us. And we're really blessed with you being with us today.
Thank you.
Would you just pray for all our viewers? As you said, all of us are facing these issues. All of us are facing these lies. And all of us are wrestling with these things. Maybe if you just pray that we will know the grace of the Lord in the midst of them all.
Absolutely, absolutely. My 2 little children are adopted, and they're adopted into our lives forever. Father God, thank you that actually the most important thing is how you see us, and you adopt us into your family. We're not slaves, we're not orphans, we're not on the edge, we're not abandoned. We are children. We are accepted by the Father. And I pray, God, for each one of us today, that will you just do something in us today that takes our breath away, that gives us a little glimpse that we are your girl, your boy. We are beloved of you. And you love us, you desire us, you love us with an everlasting love. And as that changes in us, may we be these wonderful fountains of blessing in our community, because you are unstoppable, God, and we love you. Amen.
Oh,
Amen.
wow.
Bless you.
That's fabulous.
President Gardner, it's been a joy to be with you. And bless you. Lots of love to you and the family. And we look forward to seeing you soon.
Love you,
They've eaten
Rachel.
loads of cakes in the They've taken that opportunity to stuff their faces. Bye.
Bless you, Rachel. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
She's great, isn't she?
Oh, she's lovely. So much, well, not just breadth, because she's obviously involved in a lot, but a lot of people are very, do you know that saying, very finely spread over many pieces of bread? Like, I think
I've never heard that saying before. It's a good one,
feeling like something like that. I don't know. But it's not just that. She feels deep as she is wide. You know what I mean? That some people are just surface, layered just across the top. As much as she's wide, she's gone deep into the truth.
And there's a grace in her as well, isn't there?
Of knowing who God has called her to be, even though some days she might doubt it. And she has to remind herself of the truth and speak the word of God over her, like I shared on Sunday Church, and calling out what God says, not partnering with the lies. There used to be, I know it sounds very cliche and very trite, but there used to be a song back in the day, Mark, when we used to lead worship a lot, when we met, Ron Canoli. I think he did the song, and it used to be, whose report do you believe? We shall believe the report of the Lord. Whose report? It sounds very trite, but I've found myself singing it, walking around the house, because it's so easy to partner with the enemy, and we have to stop it. We have to stop it, church, and start partnering with God. And we only partner with God when we read his word. We have to know his word, and we have to know just little sections. We have to go deep. We have to go deep in the word of God. Know it, say it, and believe it. And over time, if you keep reading and you keep saying it, over time, it does begin to change the way you think, the way you act. A few months on, you'll think, oh, I never reacted to that. I didn't think that was making any difference, because it happens with me. I've been spending time in the word, and sometimes I get my reactions are still not brilliant with things, and my guard's down. But boy, have I seen a difference in some of my reactions, because spending that time in the quiet place with God. Right, God, what are you saying over me? I receive that. I pray it back to you. I thank you for that. And doing that daily, regularly, throughout the day, I've begun to see shifts. But you have to keep it up. You have to stay. And if one day you forget to do it, say sorry to God. It's all right. He's not going to smite you down. And your name's not going to be rubbed out of the Lamb's Book of Life. But you go, God, I commit this day afresh to you today. Just come back to me if he wants you to. And it doesn't matter if you... what's that saying? It doesn't matter if you full of sayings today. It doesn't matter if you try and fail. It's if you fail to try.
Wow.
So don't try, try and fail. That's fine. That's fine. At least you got out the boat and you tried to walk on the water. But failing to try.
Yep.
Ooh, may we not be a people that fail to try. Fail to try. And we haven't got to do that to earn God's love. That's to fail to try to go deep into the things of God I'm talking about. Go deep into prayer, deep into worship, deep into loving ourselves. Because we can't love other people and go spread the good news if we hate ourselves. And if we don't, we've got to get it for ourselves first. Else we'll always do it with an agenda. We'll always be reaching out with an agenda. Our ministry will then become our identity because we haven't got it right at the source.
But you're very combative mood today.
Ooh,
banging the table, punching your palms. It's all going on.
Sorry, and
I'm glad I'm over this
Jason.
side of the table.
Jason will be saying now, when I love Jason, when I come off air, Nita was very, because we've gone from these mics, and because I get excited, my voice goes loud, and then I have to use, my voice, I don't know, my microphone's attached.
Don't play
to
with
the
it. It's okay.
So sorry if I've become overwhelming.
Well, listen, just before we explain some special things that are going to happen in next week's Crazy Hope, if you're watching and you don't know Jesus, you can change that today. Well, actually, you can play a part in changing that because Jesus is the only one that can deal with the problems in your life and make it possible. And he did that by dying on the cross. And if you'd like to know more about becoming a Christian, then do contact us. I think there's an email on the screen. You can send an email to online@rediscoverchurch.com and say, I'd like to know more about becoming a Christian. And we would love to talk with you and answer any questions you have and help you begin a journey, an exciting journey of discovering that you are loved like you never believed was possible. And God is for you, not against you. So do email us. But Nita, it's been a good show today. But
It's been a good show. It's been a brilliant show because we keep meeting these people. But next week we have
a Pentecost special next week.
I'm telling you now, hold on to your pants because you're going to need to, because it'll be like what that comedian said, then pants, his cake's coming down. Your cakes will be blown off.
So next week we have two very special guests. We have James Aladaran, who leads Prayer Storm. And he is a firebrand.
He certainly
And
is.
we also have, I can't believe this is in the same show, we have Steve Uppal, who's joining us next week as well.
Apostle of God. Well, I believe they're both got an apostolic
Both of these
ministry.
guys are carrying something weighty about the presence and the power of God. And that's going to be our show next week. Crazy Hope, Crazy Pentecost.
Unless God breaks out, and in the meantime, we're just slain in the spirit and we can't even get to it, which wouldn't be a bad thing, would it? I'd rather that happen,
bring it
really.
on.
But otherwise, we'll see you.
But we want to thank you for tuning in today. I want to thank everybody who's taken part, our online hosts, Jason, our producer, for Allan Finnegan for joining us, and for Rachel Gardner, and for our brilliant kids who ate cake all the way through that so that she could be with us today. But we're so grateful that you tuned in, whether you're watching this live or on catch-up.
Whether on your own, and you stay-at-home moms and you stay-at-home dads,
Heroes.
You are heroes.
Well done to you.
We think you're amazing. You are a good mom and you are a good dad, and your kids love you. Whether they say it or not, they love you.
But this has been Crazy Hope. Put it in your diary next week, 1 o'clock next Thursday for our Pentecost special. But we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you for being with us today. God bless you. Bye-bye.